It's time for the hot topic of the hour. Secretary of State Marco Rubio speaks out on the Signal chat controversy during a press conference in Jamaica yesterday.
I've been assured by the Pentagon and everyone involved that none of the information that was on there, though not intended to be divulged, obviously that was a mistake and that shouldn't have happened, and the White House is looking at it, but that none of the information on there at any point threatened the operation or the lives of our servicemen. And in fact, it was a very successful operation. It is an ongoing operation. But that was the intent behind it.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth once again confirming no supposed war plans or classified information were shared on that group chat. But Democrats can't let it go, going after the defense secretary during yesterday's House Intelligence Committee hearing. Watch this.
To your knowledge, do you know whether Pete Hegseth had been drinking before he leaked classified information?
I don't have any knowledge of Secretary Hegseth's personal habits.
Director Radcliffe, same question. Yes or no?
You know, no, I'm going to answer that. I think that's an offensive line of questioning. The answer is no. I find it interesting that you want to. No, I'm going to answer. You asked me a question. Do you want an answer?
No, listen.
You don't want to focus on the good work that the CIA is doing, that the intelligence community.
Florida Congressman Greg Steube then helped to steer the hearing back on track. Watch this with the bottom line.
Director Gabbard, were there any sources described in the Signal chat?
No, Congressman.
Were there any methods described in the Signal chat?
No.
Were there any locations?
No.
Therefore, due to the fact that there were no sources, no methods, nor locations described in the Signal chat, it does not make the discussion classified. Is that correct?
That is up to the Secretary of Defense determination.
The Democrats are obviously making the assertions that what was in the Signal chat was classified and claiming that Secretary Hegseth put this war plan out to the world, which he clearly did not. Were there any names in the Signal chat?
No.
Any targets?
No.
Any locations?
No.
Was there a unit name or location of that unit?
There was not.
Were there any routes described in the Signal chat?
No.
Wouldn't an operational plan contain that type of information?
Every operational plan I've ever seen has contained that information.
Thank you. Shifting to the real threats to America, the southern border. Due to the previous administration's open border policies, they allowed over 10 million illegals into our country. And during that time, there was 1,511 terrorist-related encounters at land border ports of entry, according to CBP.
Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel says terrorists are taking advantage of our northern border as well as the southern border. Watch.
I think the country deserves to know that known or suspected terrorists, KSTs, are coming in with much less frequency at the southern border. In fact, if my information is correct, 2 since January 20th. And they are coming in with much greater frequency in the northern border. And since January 20th, that number is 34. The individuals that want to do the most harm to this country are utilizing the northern border, and we got to refocus assets up there.
Well, this is getting interesting here. I mean, the northern border, bordering with Canada, is one of the issues that lawmakers are going to have to start focusing on as well, because they've put resources from the northern border on the southern border during the Biden administration, and that left the northern border vulnerable. Your thoughts?
So the border between the United States and Canada is the longest land border in the world. There are literally millions of points in which people can make ingress and egress. And this has always been an issue. Back then, when I was in office, it was guns going north, marijuana coming south. But there's always been this trade back and forth. The question is, how do you share the intelligence? How do you focus the resources? To your point, you know, we need more ICE up on the northern border as well, which we don't have as good a presence anywhere near what we have in the southern border.
I'll tell you, President Trump and the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem are sending such a message to anybody who wants to come to this country illegally. Homeland Security Secretary Noem toured the notorious El Salvador prison this week, which is housing illegal gang terrorists and drug terrorists deported by the Trump administration. She also met with the president of El Salvador. They discussed sending even more deportees to the prison, Noem with a stark warning to anybody thinking of coming to the U.S. illegally. Watch this.
If you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
A federal appeals court, meanwhile, blocked the Trump administration's deportation flights under the Alien Enemies Act, setting up another challenge expected to reach the Supreme Court. Your thoughts, Jonathan?
Well, this was ultimately going to go to the Supreme Court anyway, and ultimately I think President Trump wins here because the Alien Enemies Act was specifically designed for the executive to decide who an alien enemy is and what a predatory incursion is. So I fully expect they will win. The Supreme Court will give deference to the president just like they do on other foreign policy initiatives.